just put everything together while it was still white. And then next, so this is just a close-up of some of the joints. So like this is kind of like the head joint, this is the trifold, and these are the 45-degree angles that give it its better structure than just being a square. This was the back, and then this was the front, just kind of like I decided to go a little farther past where the legs went up, just because I thought it looked a little better, and then having the end cap. I thought it looked like, first of all, it helped it balance. Also, I thought it looked more like a real calf, having like just a little something in front. And then this was the head that I put on. So this head I bought online on some Western store, like Denver Saddlery or something. And these are built so like you can just buy the head and like stick it in a hay bale or something like that, and teach your kid to rope. So I drilled holes in the tri-joint, and I decided to just stick the head and leave about 2 inches of the stake in there, because that way you can practice either just roping the horns, or that acts as like a neck. So if I'm trying to rope the neck, I can go for that and try and get it all the way over the head. But truthfully, I'm not really good to aim at either one right now, so I'm just I'll throw it, and if I get the neck, I'll say I was aiming for the neck. So my construction went pretty well. Shirtless roommate in the background there. Didn't realize that was there until after I put this in. So my construction went pretty well. The joints, originally I had bought like this, it was like a PVC joint cement that like you just kind of rub on the inside, and then rub on the inside of the coupler of the joint, and then stick the PVC in, and it dries and it stays. But I actually decided I didn't want to use that because it's kind of big and hard to carry. So I can like deconstruct it and basically just pull off the front, pull off the back, and then just carry 3 sticks and 2 sides. And that makes it a lot easier to carry around than having to like carry this giant, like it's a lot of volume, but it's not like actually a lot of mass. So it's just like weird to navigate through stuff. So like if I want to, I can break it down and carry it around. And I'm still thinking about adding the cement because I'll probably just leave it in my backyard pretty permanently. So that's a decision I haven't made yet, if I'll put the cement in to make it stay or not. But truthfully, it's been doing pretty good of like not falling apart. Like if you stick them in there tight, like the joints are pretty stable and they don't really come apart. But if I choose to leave it not cemented in, it'll be a little more transportable. But if I choose to cement them, it might add a little bit of structure. Like if it gets kicked or someone falls on it, it probably wouldn't come apart. So then I got to the painting part, and this was another obstacle I ran into because I was like reading some stuff online, and I talked to the guy at Home Depot. And PVC, it's hard to paint PVC because it's like a weird, polyurethane plastic or whatever. So it's hard to get stuff to bond to it. So this was almost like it was like a metal wool almost. Vinyl stripping pad is what it's called. And what I did, I rubbed the whole thing in this, and it was just kind of rough, and it was not like sanding it, but it just kind of burred it and gave it like some pores, and that allowed this paint that's actually like kind of special plastic paint, having like the burrs and the pores allowed it to like get under the surface, and that made it stick better. So it was a lot easier to spray paint it black after rubbing it on. Like I could tell, like I could like spray it and see that it didn't really stick, and then I rubbed the whole thing in the metal wool, and it stuck a lot better. So first I just painted the whole thing black and let it dry overnight. And then when I decided I wanted to get to the splattering part, my original plan was to do it with like a can, or with with a paintbrush and a paint can. But I realized that's not really going to work because that kind of paint doesn't stick to PVC. So I realized I had to use like the same kind of spray paint that I used with the black. So what I did is first this part was like, I thought this part was cool. I was like, all right, you know what, I can just do the head simply, so I just concentrated it all on one part and just kind of let it drip. My original plan was to do it really close in both of the eyes, but then I was like, that would be really scary. And that wasn't exactly the aesthetic I was going for. But what I decided to do, so I had the spray paint, and this was just a little like plastic lid I had lying around in my house. So I'd get the can of spray paint and I just spray it like for a couple seconds that it kind of pooled up in there, and then just walk around the dummy and like flick it on there, so that, and then spray more, flick it. Because my original plan was to do it with the paintbrush, but I knew that wasn't going to work out because I had spray paint. So I was thinking about just kind of standing back and like spraying it so only a little bit would get on it, but I was like, that will really create the paint splatter effect, and that's what I want. So I decided to use this and spray a pool in it and then flick it. And that actually worked out pretty well, like I was doing with a paintbrush almost. So this is just like a close-up of some of the spots. It got on the head a little bit, which was fine. I didn't really care. But then like I thought it actually came out really interesting because you know some parts it was like I would have big paint, like big thick splatters, and then some parts were just the small tiny little dots. So you know I think it came out good to just look like it was random. I mean it really was. I was just kind of walking around throwing it. And then the next part I still need to make it dynamic. So these were the wheels I bought. These are like for like desk chairs almost that go on the bottom of desk chairs. And it was pretty simple to put on because they came with a socket. So all I had to do was drill a hole, and then I hammered the socket in. It's like these little teeth. I hadn't hammered it in this picture, but they just kind of dug into the PVC so that the wheels stay, and then you just stick the wheel back in the socket. And originally I had put 4 wheels on it, 2 on the back and 2 on the front. But the problem was that was when I roped it and I pulled it back hard, it would cause the whole thing to like roll and kind of fall over, and I didn't like that. So I took out the wheels on the front off, and then that way when I roped it, it still had like 2 solid feet in the ground, so it wouldn't fall over. But it still made it easy to move, because to move it around wherever you want, like all you have to do is lift up the front, and then you can just pull it wherever you want. So the wheels came out pretty easy to do, and this was just a comparison of the structure of kind of the one I was going off of and my final one. So I decided not to add the heel roping part, because heel roping is a lot harder and I'm not experienced enough yet. But if I get good enough at this, get good enough at roping, I can still turn this 3-piece into a 4-piece and add that if I want. And then some possible future modification, like I talked about the cement. If I decide that I want to solidify it and really keep it solid, then I can do that. The heels, if I get good enough at it, I can add the heels. And the blanket, like there was a picture, a similar one in this that was on the website where they had just like it was like a blanket that kind of looked like a cowhide on the back of it. And I just thought that was kind of a cool aesthetic where if, you know, I wanted to get like a piece of fabric that could lay across the back and make it look like it was an actual animal, I think that would be kind of cool. But also I do kind of like the paint splatter, you know, the CU Buffs color. I think that actually is a solid aesthetic. Thank you, that's all. Any questions?
How much is the PVC cutter?
It was like $11.
Okay.
Why?
Because usually when I cut PVC, I have to use like a handsaw. It's such a pain.
Yeah, I know, that was so easy. That was my original plan because I had like a tree saw and I was
Yeah.
like, this will probably work.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, for $11, this is really easy.
It's not really related to the.
Yeah.
But I was just curious. Okay. What are the other events in rodeo?
Bronco riding, bull riding, calf roping, team roping, mutton busting that doesn't really count. And then there's just like a lot of different horse riding events that aren't necessarily events, but
What is mutton busting? And what are
they just take like 5-year-old kids, throw them on a sheep, and see how long they can.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
hilarious. It's the best. It's so funny. It's so funny.
That's cool.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
How much did you like roughly spend on everything?
It was under $50. You didn't, because
Yeah.
I say I spent about $20 on PVC total, and then the paint maybe like another 20, and then the head was like $10 maybe. Yeah.
Not bad. Are you gonna try and sell it?
Probably not. I'm gonna keep it in my backyard. Do it at parties.
If you were to make one straight through now that you know how to do it, how long do you think it would take you to like replicate it?
Now that I know how to do it, I bet like if I were to buy everything in one go, I could probably do it in a day. Yeah.
I think you could undercut the market. And
I
go
probably
to,
could,
Go
yeah.
to rodeo and sell these things.
Yeah.
For like $100.
Make them in my backyard, sell them for $100. I could.
Cause yours look pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It
it
does
basically
look-
looks when they're online.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's what I was going for, but I was
I
like,
think it looks cooler because it has the paint splatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it come apart at all when you've been roping with it?
No, actually it hasn't.
No.
I was worried about that. That's why I was gonna do the cement, but like, I mean, as long as because it's not like, you know, if I were to like be able to grab the PVC somehow, I could probably pull it apart.
Yeah.
But like, it's all connected to each other, so.
Yeah, I really like the head too. Sorry.
Have you ever roped an actual calf?
No. I don't know if I probably couldn't. like when they're running around. I mean, I can barely get this thing 10 feet away when it's stable. I'm a beginner.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.